Welcome everybody to ATCM England. We are going to be talking about planning for the King's coronation. So what I'm going to do is I will start by giving you a bit of an overview of the topic itself before we get into some of the details and discuss some of the operational issues around our planning and hear from the Dorking Town Partnership. So planning for the King's coronation, where I have to start with, unfortunately, as is too often the case, is looking at some of the challenges we have for the UK economy. And our economic challenges continue to this day. Just a few days ago, we were hit again by the surprise at just how high inflation is. So inflation to the year of March is 10.1%. It dipped a little in comparison to the February figures, which were 10.4%, but 10.1% is higher than expectations. 10.4% was higher than expectations then, and they're starting to ease, but starting to ease very slowly, which is a real concern because it creates so many issues, which I'm going to go through now. Food prices are largely to blame. Now, while energy prices have eased and are a little bit easier for everybody, which is great, it's food that is a problem. So food inflation is now the highest it's been in 45 years. And the Financial Times talks about how people are spending more to get less. So food itself is now up at 19.2% in terms of inflation. One of the things that explains this is some of the high prices we've had in terms of energy. It takes energy to produce food, to transport food, to chill food, etc. So some of those high energy prices we've had have ultimately worked their way into the food system. So it is all linked. It's just that for food, there happens to be a lag. So while energy prices have started to come down, food prices, unfortunately, are still going up. And it includes nearly all categories of food, things like olive oil, up by nearly 50%, sugar up 32%, dairy products up over 30%. I'm hearing only really sweet potatoes is hovering at about 2%, which is nice. Everything else all up. And what this means is that on the high street, people are starting to spend differently. And this is something which has been confirmed by the director of Barclaycard, Esme Harwood, who, following research that was commissioned by Barclaycard, said almost all shoppers were concerned about food price inflation, and more than 6 in 10 were looking for ways to cut costs, whether it's cutting waste, whether it's more own label brands, anything they can do to get out of the trap they find themselves in, buying less luxuries as well. Barclaycard's research also revealed that spending in the last month was up for things like streaming services, 4.1%, up for things like takeaways, 9.2%. But in terms of people going out, that has fallen. So restaurants down 5.6%. And things like this are having an impact on high street businesses. It's not great. Yesterday, we got the news that Prezzo becomes the latest restaurant to close some of its units. So the Italian restaurant chain will shut around a third of restaurants across the country after being hit by rising costs, which is a real problem. And like I say, there are others that have already been through this, such as Frankie and Benny's and Chiquito's closing restaurants this year, on the back of further closures throughout the pandemic as well. So we're seeing a real squeeze, especially on hospitality businesses. So it's in this context we talk about the King's coronation and whether it can provide that helpful economic boost that some of these businesses need to get cash into the coffers. So let's take a look at the economic impact and social impact also of a big royal event. So I've taken a little bit of a look at this, and it appears that certainly in terms of the economics of a royal event, there is a double impact we should be aware of. And obviously, very recently, we had less than a year ago, we had the Platinum Jubilee. So we have some fairly fresh figures to work from when we think about what a big royal event looks like in terms of the economy. So the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport published its impact assessment last year, indicating that the economic hit, because there is an economic hit from big royal events, the economic hit would be around 2.4 billion for the Platinum Jubilee. And that's because of the additional bank holiday and associated business closures. And then there's also an associated contraction of GDP as a result. This was similar for previous big events, so 2.23% drop in GDP in the month of June 2002 because of the Golden Jubilee, and 1.61% drop for June 2012 for the Diamond Jubilee. So what happens with these big royal events is usually we see a contraction of GDP. So I expect May to be fairly similar, especially as we have a number of bank holidays in the month anyway. However, while there might be a drop for GDP, it's a different story for some of our high street businesses. They might actually see the very opposite impact with an economic uplift. So the boost for the UK economy due to the Platinum Jubilee is estimated to be around £6.4 billion, with pubs and restaurants alone generating over 3 billion in sales. So this is why the King's Coronation matters in the context of what we're facing at the moment. It's a really important event for the high street. And it's not just about the economics of it either. We're talking about households, people who, some of who really hard pressed, really finding life difficult, who might find a little bit of a social uplift from various community events and activities happening. So we have to remember the direct impact the cost of living is having on hard pressed households, and how the King's Coronation might help lift the gloom. So the King's Coronation does possibly provide an opportunity to support high street businesses during a difficult year and just help people through a difficult time. So with that in mind, what is the plan for the big weekend? Well, we'll start on Saturday, 6th of May, where there will be a coronation service taking place at the fabulous Westminster Abbey. On Sunday, the 7th of May, we will have a special coronation concert taking place at Windsor Castle with some world-renowned entertainers who will be dancing on the ceiling. You see what I did there? Yeah, moving on. And also during the day, Sunday, probably before, I would imagine the big party, the big event, there will be the Coronation Big Lunch, where neighbours and communities across the UK are invited to share food in a nationwide act of celebration. And I think this is where many of our members are encouraged to get involved. There will be thousands of events held across the UK, which are expected to coincide with the big lunch. So it'd be great to hear what you're all doing at that particular time. That night as well, Sunday night, the coronation concert will also coincide with Lighting Up the Nation, which will see iconic locations across the UK illuminated using projections, lasers and drone displays, some of which were fabulously used during the Platinum Jubilee. And then on the Monday, we have more community activities happening. So the Together Coalition, alongside other bodies such as the Scouts and the Royal Volunteer Service, are coordinating what's called the Big Help Out. And this is a celebration of the role of volunteering in towns across the country and also in the Commonwealth. So it's a real opportunity to see what can be done around volunteering. So it is a celebration of volunteering. So it'd be great to hear if anybody's doing anything around the issue of volunteering. So this is an opportunity. It most certainly is an opportunity. However, it will take some work because there are challenges. So what I'll do is I will share these links in the chat box so you can find out more information on these schemes. And just to come back full circle to that Barclaycard research, the reason why this stuff is a challenge is because of that cost of living crisis. There are people not planning to do probably as much as they did for the Platinum Jubilee last year. So just 35% of consumers planning on spending their money for activities during the coronation weekend. At least 11% planning to buy food and drink to host friends and family, probably at home. Only 8% planning to actually visit pubs and bars during the big weekend. So we've got work to do to make this count for our high street businesses. So today's conversation is, what plans do we have for the coronation weekend, and how are we engaging and supporting our businesses and communities? So that being said, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in Kathy.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see my deck, and then also my can you everyone see that? Okay, awesome. So hi, everybody. My name is Kathy Kyle, and I am the bid manager for Dorking. We're a small town in Surrey. We have about 14,000 people. Dorking's bid actually went away for about a year, and then it was voted back into existence in December. So we have a lot of work to do in terms of, just to be honest, gaining back the trust of our businesses and reestablishing Dorking as a presence. We have a lot of work to do, honestly, and we didn't really do very much for the Jubilee. The council actually helped us out in terms of doing anything. So really what the bids have asked me to do and my team to do is to they really just wanted us to engage the community. So the way we're operating is my company actually is supporting the bid. So I'm with my company's called DigiKind. And so what we wanted to do was to establish a strategy with goals, tactics, and a plan to execute. So I do everything that way. So I'm going to share with you sadly, some charts, so hopefully you don't mind, and some spreadsheets, and then I'm going to ask Sophie to jump in too. So we have re-engaged Loyal Free to help us, because I love a trail. I really think that self-propelled tourism is a way that we can really bring people back into the high street and share how fantastic our businesses are. So I think that I've actually worked in Windsor and Maidenhead. I worked with Windsor and Maidenhead for 18 months. And so I'm really familiar with the whole royal establishment. And so I've been there and done that. And so I really wanted to really shine a light on not just the coronation, but actually on Dorking's identity, and to really focus on the place. So our whole focus is on our heritage, our culture, and our spirit. So the idea here is, how can we bring people into town and share how awesome Dorking is? Because it's a really unique place. I mean, every place is unique and fantastic, but how can we really kind of encourage people not only in Dorking, but also in the surrounding areas to come in? So we wanted to bring together everyone here in Dorking, the residents, visitors, the business owners, our local community. How could we bring everybody in to kind of take a tour of the town, and to experience everything, not just on the day of our event, which is actually on the Big Help Out Day, the Monday, but also to kind of experience everything from the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, using all their senses. And then we want to focus on that community element. So kind of to OJ's point, we know that everyone's really hurting right now in terms of their pocketbook. And so we really wanted to demonstrate a value. Sorry, my dog is chewing on a bone. Not that high. Sorry. She's like, I don't know if you can hear her, but she's back there going like, arr, 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 arr. She's like chewing on this bone behind me. So, everyone's living through this really tough time. And so I really need to demonstrate value, I think, to our bid levy payers. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but some levy payers are super on board And, we're all in the same WhatsApp group and everybody's like, yeah, like, let's get in on this. And then other levy payers are like, why am I paying this? And, what value do you even bring to me? So I really need to make sure that everything that I do and that the bid does demonstrates value for money. So I want to make sure we do that. And so everything we do in terms of our approach demonstrates that. So at a glance, this is what we're doing for the bid. And this is it. So we have brought together all of these artists to bring their art to us for this art competition. So we're doing an exhibition where 29 artists brought together. We asked people, can you share your art with us? And we'll do an art exhibition. They did that. We brought together 34 vendors and volunteers to focus on how fantastic Dorking is in terms of a volunteer village. We brought together a sustainable market for the day. We have activities, we have artists and face painters and a henna artist that's come together. We have an art trail that Sophie's going to talk about using Loyal Free. We did an e-magazine so that it's like really easy to find what's happening on the day. We have, I wanted to do like a community spirit award. So the actual community could nominate people. And we have a sustainability hero, a volunteer hero, and then the best business. So the best bricks and mortar business. So we had 85 people be nominated, and we have 3 winners. We have musicians that are coming to our event. So we have 5 musical acts on the day in various parts of the town. Even the sports center is going to do taster sessions. We have our art exhibition, and then we've done a ton of press. So it's been really exciting to see it come together. We were hired in February 15th. I feel like I'm drinking from a fire hose. When OJ said, can you come and talk to us? I was like, just flying by the seat of your pants count, because it really feels like we've just been like kind of just putting this all together. So this was our timeline for the event. So I just basically got a Google sheet out and just put it all together. So we've done project planning. I've been working really closely with the council because we have to essentially get all of our licensing sorted. We've established a project committee. So it's not just me sitting here this is what I'm going to do. We asked for feedback and we asked for permission basically from the community to say, what do you want to do? What day do you want to do it? What's the best day? We asked the council, what are you seeing in terms of licensing? Do people want to have a big lunch, or, do people want to see this and this on the day? Do you think we should do it on the, on the Saturday? And so we all agreed what day we were going to do it. We needed to recruit volunteers. I literally just heard yesterday from the St. Paul's Church. She said, I can get you 20 more volunteers. And I said, I'll order more t-shirts. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm ordering more t-shirts. And so, we've been promoting the heck out of the event and, getting our risk assessment together and submitting our licensing on time. And I had one vendor come to me and say, did you get my 10s yet? And I was like, did you send it to the council? It's just kind of getting all this stuff sorted out it's been a bit of a lift. And my team of we've just been eating, sleeping, and thinking and breathing coronation for 2 months. But I really feel like it's really going to pay off because everyone's just talking about it now. And even the businesses that didn't really want to do it before are hanging up the bunting we bought for them. So that's exciting. We're doing a lot of press now. Everyone wants to hear about it. So that's exciting. This is the art installation that's gone up. So I literally, the first thing I did was in February, I just said to all of our artists, we just put a push out on social saying, are you an artist? Do you want to have your artwork shown? And we had 29 people submit their art. A 10-year-old won the competition by public vote. This is not the 10-year-old's art, but we just wanted to feature the best of our community offering. And I got the idea from the Brighton bid. The best ideas come from other people sometimes. And we just saw this wonderful, Rosie's our social media manager. She saw the idea and I thought, that's brilliant, Brighton. And we just thought it was a beautiful art exhibit and we wanted to feature, we want people to, if you don't see yourself, you can't be it. And I think, and so we really are really inclusive community, and we wanted to share that. And so if you go to Hello Dorking on any social media channel, you'll see this. You'll also see it on our website. So we're also sponsoring this, and our heroes or sheroes, because there are some out there, and everyone's being recognized. Born Free's gotten involved as well. They're sponsoring a lion called King, which they did not plan, and they're giving us, they're sponsoring our sustainability hero. This is our judging panel. This really helps, I think, if you're going to sponsor something, or if you're going to have like any kind of like judging panel, get people in high places to do your judging, and they'll promote it for you. I think one of the reasons why we've got so much press is because BBC was part of it. So they've given us a lot of airtime. They're going to send a reporter out on the day, which is great. I'm going to stop talking for a second and invite Soph to get involved. She's been amazing, and I'm not just saying that because I like her. She's I've known Sophie for a long time. We've worked together on a lot of projects, and whenever Sophie makes a recommendation, I follow it. But I made this booklet, and she said, put the trail in the booklet and people will know, where to find it, what to do. And so I've done this. This is a great way to drive people to the high street, make a really simple trail. We've got an artist coming in. She's going to paint our windows. People can just click on the QR code and be driven down the trail. Waitrose has sponsored our prize. And Sophie, I'm going to stop talking and let you talk.
No worries. I haven't got slides or anything. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the trail and some key things that make it successful, because I think that's the most useful thing to take from this, like what components of a digital trail really make it successful, right? Because I was looking back at a lot of our data, and we've run 884 trails to very different varying degrees of adoption and success, but there's some things that are consistent about the ones that really do well. So as Kathy said, we worked with DorKing BID for a long time, years and years and years. Spent a lot of time down there, beautiful place. We work all across the country, so we adapt our technology, depending on the place. Dorking is quite different to somewhere, say like Leicester, where I live, very different setup, very different businesses. So what we're doing in Dorking is we have a bit of a sort of starting point in that we already have the engagement of a lot of the bid in Law-Free, because we have that past relationship before the bid went away and came back. But we're having to re-establish that now. But having said that, we've got this access to, these 4,000 people that already use the app in the area, that we can send location-based pushes to, push notifications and emails to let them know, you're interested in this area, this trail is coming. So we've got a bit of a starting platform, which is really helpful. So as Kathy said, there's going to be 24 windows with all of this beautiful artwork on. And it's a case of people following a map on their phone and scanning a QR code to say, I checked in at this window, I checked in at this window. We spoke for a while about how we incentivize this. So this is one of my main points about trails. If there isn't an incentive, it massively lowers engagement, massively. So we thought, well, there needs to be some kind of prize. Do we give a prize to everyone that does it? Realistically, are people going to go to all 24 locations if they've got potentially a whole family in tow? We don't know what the weather's going to be like. There's all these components. So what we came up with, and Waitrose, I think, have been very generous from Kathy's relationship with them, and they've put some prizes forward. So what we're doing is a 2-stage incentive. So everyone that goes to at least 10 locations gets entered into a prize draw for a lovely hamper from Waitrose. And then if you go to all of the locations, you get entered into a prize draw for a much bigger, I don't know what it is, like the premium coronation hamper. And it's just to give people that incentive to go. And then in terms of promoting it, the next thing about trails is having to promote it across loads of different platforms. So I've just done some work with Northampton BID, and they've done this exceptionally well. It isn't a case of 2 days before you put out some comms. This really has to be embedded into your print, into your online, into your social, into your press. It has to come from all these different angles, and Leicester are really good at this as well, integrating it across platforms. So we've got it in the booklet, we've got it on socials. I mean, Kathy, your personal social media is like the first thing I see every time I open Instagram, and my whole feed's like talking. I'm like, maybe I should go to Dorking for the coronation. Like, this looks good. And then, like we said, we're going to re-engage with those people that we've already got. So something I wanted to mention as well is why, why do a trail? What's the real economic value of a trail? So Kathy spoke about value for money and articulating that, because it's hard to look at the footfall data and say what percentage of that is based on a trail or to actually quantify this. So we have some ways we can quantify this. Last year we did the same dyno trail in 16 places in order to be able to capture a lot of data, to compare a like for like trail, see how it was promoted and really learn from that. And we surveyed everyone that did that. And some of the most interesting things that came out of that were, on average, every person doing a trail on their phone, there was 3 people in their group. So that was quite eye-opening for me, because if 400 people, I looked at it and said, oh, 400 people did this. Well, actually, that was 1,200 people. That was 400 devices. So it sort of changed the way you look at it. And on average, they spent £35 per group. And then you're able to start actually quantifying the spend. And then we've started doing some interesting stuff where, based on how many locations, we can see how far they walked. So there's that health side of it, of, doing this trail meant that people walk this far, and hooking people back in whilst they're on the trail. So I go to scan my window and the app tells me they've also got a deal on. You could also get a discount or a loyalty scheme, and actually trying to hook them into that spend. So really, in summary, the things I would say I've been thinking about, what makes a trail successful. And the main things that I think are place specific. So this is, a local artist. This is very community driven. This is very Dorking specific. Free. So it's free for people to do. And you spoke about the cost of living crisis. These trails often attract the family demographic. It needs to be free in the first place. People will spend money, but the actual activity itself, incentivized with a prize. So, or some kind of, people might do, we did Easter egg, and everyone got an Easter egg at the end if they finished it. They went to like a town hall and got an Easter egg. So there's different ways of incentivizing it. And they were sort of and running it for a decent amount of time. So although this is centered around a one-day big event, we're actually running the art trail for 2 weeks, I think. Kathy, is it 2 weeks? So we expect most of the activity to take place around that weekend, but that's not to say that we want to miss out on those people that might be going away that weekend, but still want to engage with their local area and that thing. So we see this a lot, that trails happen for a day or two. But then we also see the opposite, where people run it for like 2 months. And it's very hard to keep up any kind of momentum or incentive. But yeah, that's all I was going to say, really. Dorking have done an amazing job. In particular, just the capital K in Dorking. That was pretty convenient for you guys, but they've done an amazing job. And Kathy, I've been so impressed by it, mainly because I've never seen so many spreadsheets and Google in my life. And it made me so happy inside, because this is how I live my life as well. Yeah, and I was like, I'm glad other people do this as well. But the end result is this really well put together campaign that brings in everyone from the local area, using those people, But yeah, Kathy, is there anything else you want me to talk about to do with the trail?
No, I think it's great. Thank you so much. I did forget to say that it was 2 weeks long. It's great. So your team's been amazing. Thank you.
I will let them know.
Thank you. Yeah, they're awesome. Yep. But we basically want to leave a lasting impact, not just for the, with the art and everything, but it's really for the businesses and the local community. So this is the planning bit of everything. Sorry, now the slides really look horrible. Sorry, because I guess the planning is like the most important bit. So we have these every week we have, and I'll go through this really quickly. And if you want any of this stuff, I'll just give it to you. I'll send you my links. But we have these every Monday. We have a sprint. This goes to my tech background. I can't help it. We have a weekly sprint. They don't always last half an hour. Sometimes they're just 15 minutes. It's just however long you need. or we need to just get to what we need to get through. Everyone has access to everything. It's completely transparent. We have an executive summary that went out to the bid board, and then we have access to, everyone has access to the licensing plan. We do have an Eventbrite that it's a free event, but everyone has, you know, we have an Eventbrite for it. We have messaging for everybody. So everyone that is involved in this event has messaging with Canva assets, with text, with posts, with access to the Google Drive, with all the logos, with all the pictures, with like, you know, reverse whiteout logos. Like, this is how you use it. This is how you do it. Because we want everyone to be a brand ambassador. On every engagement I've ever worked on, you have to have brand ambassadors. If you don't have that, then you don't, and you don't create user generated content. And if the businesses aren't sharing that content with you, then what have you got? You just have like Hello Dorking talking about Dorking. It doesn't work. You actually have to have people on the ground who are your brand advocates. And I'm done. So you have to have that. This is the project plan for March, April, May. This is what it looks like. We have work streams for every week commencing. This is what we have to do. I'm just going to quickly go through it, but basically these are all the things we needed to do and we did. These are all the things that are happening still ongoing in May. I do have one for June, but it's just kind of going back and looking to see what we needed to do. And then this is the plan. So kind of OJ talked about this, basically saying, you know, this is what's happening on the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And this is what we're doing for the 6th, 7th, and 8th. But we're also doing something on the Friday, because we actually have like musicians like having gigs in our pubs and our restaurants. Dorking's a really musical place, and so we have like lots of people having shows and stuff, and so we want to have like, you know, we want to promote those guys and share what's happening. The Gin Kitchen is a local, so I have like this thing. The Gin Kitchen is they put together a coronation cocktail. You don't have to use their gin to do it, but they put out this fabulous video that we're sharing with everybody. We've also put it in our booklet, so everyone can make a cocktail, and it plays to God Save the King, which is just fabulous. I love that. And then we're sort of sharing everything that's happening around Dorking. So it's like, we are doing this event on the big help out, but we're also sharing everything that's happening in Dorking with all the other businesses on the days that they're open. We're asking people to share their images. We're asking people to share their photos and share their memories. The museum is hosting an event at the library because our museum had a fire, so they can't have anything open. And then I'm really big on KPIs. So how do we measure our results? It doesn't really matter if you don't measure it. So we want to demonstrate that we have impact and value. So we have all of these bits. So how are we measuring it? So I'm doing it via earned media and estimated footfall and surveys and asking people what they think. We have a suggestion box. This is where I stole all my ideas from, so I'm referencing them. We even have like selfies that we're asking people to take with our cardboard cutouts of all of the royals. I do have Meghan and Harry involved because why not? So we're involving everybody. We're going to have these selfies all over the place, including corgis. So this, I also, I mean, I'm a marketer, so I can't help it. I've got like audience profiles asking, we have call to action for everybody. We have on the day activities. We've sent this out to all of our participants to say, this is who we're targeting. This is what we want them to do. These are all of our stakeholders. These are all of our communities that we're talking to. This is who's participating. And then these are all the calls to action. So, you know, this is who you are. Do you want to perform? Are you a musician? These are the volunteer organizations. What are you doing? Do you want to perform? Do you want to get involved? Blah, blah, blah. So these are all the things that we've asked people to do specifically. And then I've sent this out to all of, so we have essentially like our internal team. We've asked them to share these bits with people. So we've made it really easy for people to be advocates on the inside and on the outside. And then this is just basically like a reiteration of what our plan is and what's happening across town. This is just some of our earned media. We just got some local press, some BBC press, and then a local radio station has gotten involved with us as well. And what's really cool is that we have like actual businesses sharing this. So this is just a repost from a business. Like this is a kitchen store, which is like super cool. So this kind of gets to like my whole brand ambassador idea that we really want businesses to share what's happening. And then the rest of this is just an appendix. And I'm going to stop talking. This is just like, this is our actual street plan. These are all the people involved. this is what's happening, where and when. It's very boring. And that's it. And I'll stop. And I'm done. Thank you.
Wow. Can I ask everybody, open question, is anybody else feeling slightly inferior when it comes to their project planning skills? Because I feel like that is detailed and comprehensive and fairly stunning, and I'm taking notes for how I put summer school into place, because that is quite impressive. Yeah, Kathy, wow, so many comments, so many questions. Yeah, amazing work. I knew it was good from the social media, like Soph said, the stuff you do on social media is fantastic. It's how I first picked up about your work. But just to see some of the detail behind it, fabulous. I like the way I can tell you've got a marketing or comms background, because the way you've integrated that understanding of comms into some of the project planning, the little ideas like the judges you've used for, I can't remember what it was it some of the art schemes, the banners, the fact that you're using high profile judges who are then automatically going to shout about the work, it's a simple idea, but oh my word, it gets your mileage.
It helps, doesn't it? But they're all really lovely people. They're fantastic, and they all are experts in their areas. I think that really helped us. And they're all genuinely interested in what we're doing. They're all, I targeted them. That sounds terrible. I picked them. I targeted them because they're all really interested in dorking, and we all have a relationship with them. I mean, they all are very invested in dorking. So I think that they're all going to add value, and they're all coming. So they're all coming to the event. It's not like they're just like, one and done. They're all very interested. They're all coming to the event. We've invited, I think, the Lord Lieutenant, I don't know what their title is, but they're coming. The head of the council is coming. Like, I've invited everybody. So they're all attending, which is great. And I think it'll just be, the whole point is essentially like, from an economic perspective, we want to help dorking. From a societal perspective, we want to help dorking. We're trying to tick all of these boxes and also, add impact and value. And so we're just trying to, I always start from the end, what's the goal, and then work backwards from there. As is to be, what's the goal, and then mitigate all those risks in the middle. And then how can we do that in a really creative way? So the way we're running the bid is digital transformation, placemaking, creative campaigns, and business support. It's like a 4-pillar approach. So if we can approach all of our placemaking in the same way, we're going to do that. And if we can get those businesses on board, get the community on board, get the residents on board, and then we're always shoehorned between Reigate and Guildford, and everyone says, what's wrong with dorking? And it's like, nothing's wrong with dorking. No one's talking about it. And everyone says, why can't we get investment in our shops? And can we get some real shops, please? And it's like, we got a ton of real shops. No one's talking about it. Everyone's got the same problems that we have. If you use it, you won't lose it. And so, in order for us to get that investment it's such a complex thing. We all know that. I'm just preaching to the choir. You're all wearing your choir t-shirts right now. But, if we all, we have to educate people. People say, why can't the council get better shops in? And it's like, they don't manage business rates, so it's like, we just have to work together and educate people to do it. And that's it. Sorry, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I'm done.
No, it's a great box to be on. That's great. So I'm gonna anybody questions or comments for Kathy, please put them in the chat box, and we can go through them. And what I want to do now is also open it up for a round table so we can hear what's happening in every area, what plans you've got, what's going right, what's going wrong. If there's anything you want to put to the group so you can troubleshoot, if there's any practical issues you've got, then this is the forum to do it. So Annette, can I start with you?
Hi. Yeah, Dunstable. Do you know what we did? We did get whacked a little bit in Jubilee that we didn't put up enough bunting. I thought we'd gone bunting mad, but obviously not. So we have decided to flag the high street this year. So they went up like last night, as I said to you, OJ. So we've now got giant Union Jack flags all down the high street, all round Asda, and bunting as well. We've also just added some hats down one of our middle row. We had festoons along there. So over the last 2 weeks, we've had community painting, straw hats, boaters. They've all been decorated and they went up last night as well. So we've now got a sea of hats floating across the high street, which looks lovely. As for our big weekend, we have giant screen coming. I'm sure most of them are. After that, we've got some films being shown. So because there's no time's been sort of allocated, we're thinking that the later afternoon is going to be quieter. So we're going to show some films. We've also got free children's activities during that day as well. We decided that we weren't just going to concentrate on that weekend. So we're doing our big lunch in June. We're doing it at the beginning of June, and we've invited 150 people to our free lunch. We're having that in one of our parks. We've also got a coronation market the following weekend, which is the 13th of May. And that, as well as local crafters and food vendors, will have crazy golf and face painting. On that big help day, we do have a local church that's opening their doors and inviting people to come along and join charities that will be there hosting their own stalls, and people can come along and join the big help that way if they don't know where to go for that big help day. So I think that's pretty much us in Dunstable.
Fab, that's really interesting. That sounds great. Jill, what's happening in lovely Watford?
In lovely Watford, we are going to be this week installing Union Jack banners on 68 lamppost columns. So that should have a very strong visual impact. They'll be there throughout the month of May. We've also got twinkly tree lights in, which will be turning red, white and blue for the weekends once it gets dark. There's going to be a big screen in our shopping centre showing the actual coronation itself, and they're also doing like coronation photo booths. I don't quite know what it entails, but it's obviously going to be a bit of fun. The BID are doing as well a art trail. What we've done is we've partnered with a local schools trust, so we've got 1900 A4 pictures we've put on a nice banner that we are displaying in, I think it's about 42 different shop windows up and down the high street in the shopping centre and the gallery in the shopping centre. So we know that all the kids that have done one, all their parents will bring them into town to walk around and have a look at it. And we've got a letter, a word, it's the word coronation. It's not really that tricky, but it's hidden amongst all these trails. So everybody that enters will go into a prize draw to win a Watford gift card. I think we're going to judge the best picture with the Lord Lieutenant as well. And I think that's it. I feel like we've got lots going on.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and I spot a theme there as well. So just like what Kathy did, is having those projects where you are openly engaging parts of the community, such as school kids, for example. They then automatically get involved, don't they? They feel invested in the project. And it's just a great way of getting the message out.
Yeah, we did look at doing a street party in the town centre, and I'd applied for a lottery grant to cover the costs of it. We decided, following obviously the business rates revaluation, all our costs going, or not our costs going up, but our income coming down massively, that we couldn't risk not getting that money in and it not being a success. So we decided we wouldn't do it, and actually we found out we wouldn't have got the funding anyway. So it was a decision well made, and we took the view that a lot of people will actually do their own street parties if they're going to do anything rather than come into the town centre. But we shall see.
Yeah, cool. Really interesting. Really interesting. Gina.
Hello. Yeah, so much like the others, we have done a lot of bunting. So there was criticism last year for the Jubilee, there wasn't any bunting in Bishop Stortford, and the Town Council didn't have any funding to do it. So our giant Union Jacks have just gone up, actually up and down the high street, and some bunting. We've also provided all our businesses with bunting to decorate their shop frontages, inside or outside, which has gone down really well, actually. I spent 2 days last week delivering that, and they were really, really pleased with that. So, and it also opened up a few just conversations with people who haven't, had it difficult to make engagement with before. So that was useful on a sort of side note. We are doing an event on the Sunday. We have engaged with a number of local groups. We've got like a Dorking brass band, we've got a ukulele group, we've got a local dance group with one section of juniors and one section of adults. And we've got a load of performances on our market square on the Sunday afternoon, just to kind of create a bit of an atmosphere, hopefully draw people in, encourage them to come for lunch, drinks, stay on for dinner. So that's running 12 till 4 in the afternoon on the Sunday. We've got goodie bags for people, which we've got sponsored by one of the local solicitors. We've put in some branded water bottles. We've got a few discount vouchers. We're doing kind of lucky dip with a £50 gift card into 10 bags. Who will get the golden envelope. We've got stilt walkers dressed as horse guards walking around, and a Disney princess, just to kind of move people around. It's not all centred just in the market square. They go up and down the high street. I'm working with the shopping centre as well, who are doing a kind of selfie display area with the kind of, they've got somebody in to do all the flowers, beautiful flower wall, and that side of things. So hoping that it's sort of our first big event following our reballot and being voted back in. And so we wanted to do something quite early on to announce our kind of arrival back and really engage with businesses. So far it's been well received. It's been a bit of a learning curve for me with doing it. It's my first event doing them on the market square with all the licenses and the questions, but hopefully we're over the worst of all of that and everything's in place. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, thanks a lot. And Lisa?
Yeah, so in Solihull, again, very similar to the rest of them, we've given a lot of the businesses bunting. We've given some of them life-size Charles and Camillas, which have gone down really well. We've now got people asking for them even if they haven't got them. So we're trying to get hold of some more. We've probably got about 8 hospitality venues taking part in the Coronation Cream Tea, which starts from this weekend right through till the 7th of May. We've got a family fun trail, which goes around 12 venues, and they will pick up stickers of different monarchs. And then there's like a fun fact about that monarch as well. Again, that runs from this weekend right through to the 7th of May. We've got a throne. So on the actual 6th of May, sorry, is like our big day. So we've got a royal throne, so people can take selfies. We've got Union Jack gliders going around the town centre. What else have we got going on? We've got face painters in for the children. And we've got a vintage bus coming in. So we've got one static in the town centre, and then we've got one that will do, it's about a 5-minute bus tour around the town centre for people to join, which is all free of charge.
That's fabulous. And question for you as well. So what's the, how is it sort of joint working with the BID at the same time to deliver some of the activities?
Yeah, so we've put most of those activities on, and then the town centre is doing like a big screen in the local theatre, so people can go in there and watch the actual coronation itself. But we've put most of it on, yeah.
Yeah, fab. And Blair?
Did you say me?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
What type of things are you looking at for Putney?
So we are focusing on the Monday, so the big help out day. This is based off the Jubilee last year. We found that would probably end up being the most effective day on a Monday. We've got fancy dress parade that we're doing, so we're encouraging adults and kids to dress up in royal attire. So I will be dressing up as well. We've got an arts and crafts stands, and that's always really popular with the kids. We've got balloon modelers, circus activities going on. We've set up a throne in our church square in which people can take selfies on, and we've also got life-sized cardboard cutouts on the way. We haven't actually put any Union Jacks up yet, but I think that's something we're going to look at doing. So yeah.
That sounds great. Sounds like there's a lot of stuff happening. Has anybody had particularly particular issues with licensing planning? I know Jill mentioned the challenge of being able to do a street party, for example, in the middle of a town centre. Anybody had any issues getting things through? Or has it actually been fairly plain sailing because it's such a big event? It's the King's Coronation. It's been easy to get things done.
I found it easier to get things done. Sorry, Jill. And actually, the road we're putting for a road closure, which I was expecting to have to pay for because it's, you know, we're not doing it for the residents of the road when you read all the rules. But they haven't charged me for it, so I was very surprised about that. So yeah, I have to say, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't bad at all.
I was just going to add, when we were going to do the street party, the Borough Council was very much on board with that, so we wouldn't have had any issues. It would have been fully supportive. That said, I haven't actually had approval yet to hang the lamppost banners from the County Council on the columns, but I've done all my due diligence and we will be hanging them regardless. Gina knows what it's like for getting that approval. And it's just
we have fun and games.
You want to do anything, so I've gone past the point of caring. As long as I know everything's safe, then we're going to do it.
Yeah, and I remember this issue from, was it Love Wimbledon for the Jubilee, where they said they had the challenge of trying to work with Merton Council. It was the hinges which they were using didn't match up with the banners, and they thought it would be plain sailing, and it just turned into a big nightmare. And obviously with the Jubilee as well, apparently they've got some tennis tournament they have to worry about around the same time of the year, so it just got messy.
I heard of that, yeah.
Oh my God, banners. Yeah. So it doesn't sound fun. Guys, that's all fabulous information. Kathy, are those slides you can share? Are you able to share that there?
Yeah, sure, I'll send them.
I think just the process you've gone through, the stakeholder management, the comms, the ideas are all fabulous. So I would love to be able to share them. So when we send this recording out to the masses, I'll make sure that deck is with it so people can take a look. And it might be that there'll be some big events planned by town centre managers and bid managers in future, where you'll look at the planning process and go, oh, that looks familiar. That'll be fabulous. So just before you all go, just to touch on one last thing with regards to an event ATCM have coming up. So I'll bring my slides up again. So I know some of you here are already coming, but just to give everybody the heads up, reactivation and rediscovery is the theme for this year's summer school. It's going to be taking place in the city of Leicester on the 21st and 22nd of June. And the theme is focusing on just how we need to do things differently during a cost of living crisis. What that means in terms of business viability, how we need to approach the issue of managing our commercial destinations in a different way to make sure that we can have vibrant places coming out of some of the existing economic challenges. So we will start with a pre-networking event, and yes, we've got some cricket and cocktails, and the reason why I want to take us to Social Sixes is because it's a place where experience is front and center. So it's just a really interesting concept, which I think speaks to one of the big themes of high streets at the moment, and that is how you embed experience into a place which has been traditionally about retail and transactions. So
okay, please, let's talk about bars as well. And not that I frequent all the cocktail bars in Leicester, but I'm sure we can create some kind of like good bar crawl as well.
Oh, yeah, we will get there. Don't worry. That will be incorporated. That's probably the night of the awards, though. So it will be in there. We'll kick off the event with cost of living crisis versus the high street, where we will have one of Visa's most senior people giving us the data on what the cost of living crisis means for a lot of our businesses. We'll have a panel debate called Counting the Cost, where we'll have representatives from various sectors and also from data as well, looking at the specific impact on different types of businesses. And this will include Keith Pullinger, who is the founder and deputy chairman of the fabulous Light Cinema, the cinema industry being one particularly hit by the pandemic and the cost of living crisis. We will look at how to nurture the next generation of high street entrepreneurs, again with another exciting panel, including Charlotte Thomason, Head of Policy and Government Relations at Enterprise Nation. We will have on day 2 more fabulous discussions and events, including Banking on Change, which is looking at the loss of high street banks and the impact that has on the ecosystem for many towns. We will be joined by Kat Furrow, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Cash Access UK, which is the organisation charged with bringing in community banking hubs to support those places where the last bank has closed down. And we will be ending the main part of the conference with the final panel debate looking at next gen space. So that's how the property industry has to respond to more flexibility on the high street, including main speaker will be John Hoyle, founder of Souk, who will be on that panel, who his business model is fabulous. And I think it's definitely probably the way property will go on the high street. We'll also have 3 excellent study tours in there, which I am really looking forward to. So it promises to be a great event. We've got other speakers who are soon to be announced as well. So take a look at it if you can. If you can attend, it'd be great to see you there. And also in the middle of it, we'll have the fabulous Town and City Management Industry Awards, which there might have been some work I've heard about today, which will probably be thought about for those awards. So those awards will be launched in the next few days. So guys, that's it. Thank you very much for your participation. I've learned a lot. It's great to see you all, and I hope to see you all again soon. And I hope you all have a great coronation weekend. I hope everything goes splendidly. I hope the sun is shining and people are happy. So guys, I will speak to you all soon.